when I get up and I go out of this house, I go out here and I think, I have done nothing to earn this privilege of living here. It's just the way the chips fell, that I happened by the grace of God to be born into this family with such vision. When it was a going operation, we had pigs and turkeys and chickens and three chicken houses, and we had our own dairy, and we pasteurized the milk, and it went around the lake. When the farm was going, the men on the farm cut the ice for the houses, and that was a wonderful place to play in the summer. Oh, it was so cool. It was delicious. I just feel privileged to be able to live in this beautiful place.
We grew up with no electricity, no conveniences of any kind, outhouses, and my one chore, believe it or not, and this is absolutely terrible today, was to take all the bottles and cans from the previous night's revelry, put them in the stern sheets of put them in a trash can, put the trash can in the stern sheets of a rowboat, and go out and sink them. Millions of years from now, someone will come along, the lake is dried up, the cans will have gone, the bottles will be there, and they'll discover a civilization that survived on ketchup and bourbon.
I've been on Squam since I was 4 years old. My dad and I used to go bass fishing Thursday afternoon, so we went all over the lake pretty much for many years. Camp Wachusett was very much organized towards conservation and so forth. Seeing the woodlands maintained and with a few dollars from each of us, you know, over the generations. And I can't say that I made a large impact on the thing, but I was active enough. You know. I don't know what's going to happen.
I kind of hope that the lake can stay more or less the way it is, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It'd be nice to be able to come up here, like with my family, in like 20, 30 years and have there still be like a lake to swim in and mountains to hike and no internet, even though that's probably not going to happen.
We just hope that people respect the lake the way it is and want to preserve it that way. I think it's people, you know, probably our generation and my children's generation is going to have to keep preserving it. And I think there's a lot of, you know, a lot of forces. They're going to be have to work hard at it.
The lack of change here has been a real psychological comfort to me over the years. It's so nice to come to a place that looks the same as it always has. This is the living room, and the birch bark on the walls came from trees that fell in the 1938 hurricane, and my parents took the bark off and put it up on the wall as wallpaper. To see the next generation of children doing basically the same things that we did also adds a sense of continuity to the property, which is wonderful.
This piece of land means so much to us and is wrapped up in, you know, generations of memories.
We used to have wonderful Spears Witch towns that we'd make at the foot of a tree out here.
We used to find perfect little places to build fairy houses, mostly in between these two specific trees.
And we'd have little roads and bridges and schools and all kinds of houses.
We would build our own little houses, then take little pebbles to build a stone wall.
We'd play there for hours.
You guys would spend hours down there.
Just sitting there looking at the water and the mountains is a spiritual experience in itself. That was something my parents started, wanting us kids to learn hymns. But it's the same kind of thing now, and it's just sometimes, as it was last night, just jammed with people of all ages, babes in arms and great-grandparents. So it's a great tradition, and it keeps just going year after year.
It's not hard to fall in love with some of these places, and then you're willing to try and do what you can to help preserve them. Stewardship is important because you can have the easements on these properties, but if there aren't people helping on the stewardship, you know, either helping to maintain trails so that damage from our feet doesn't continue to occur, or monitoring the properties like Squam Lakes Conservation Society so diligently does, the easements are weakened and not held up to what they're supposed to be held up. So.
If you were just a regular normal person, there's all different levels that you could volunteer at. For instance, if you just had one morning a summer, you could go out on one of our trail work days and we just show you whatever we're doing.
And just being out in the woods is always a plus. We live in a really nice spot. It's getting nicer all the time with all this conservation land.
To be able to protect it and keep it just the way we have always remembered it in perpetuity is a wonderful thing to think about.
In our minds, and I'm pretty sure in theirs, is the thought that this is going to enable them to keep it. And I think the feeling of this is going to go on.
I have felt it was the way to go. We were just raised that way. And it hasn't been hard to do. It's been very easy if you love a place enough.
I like the loons, and like at night when I'm trying to go to sleep and you can hear them calling and
I'm not very good.